speaking of being on the floor, Tony Ferguson ended up there a whole lot in the co-main event against Charles Oliveira. Another guy we've been watching for a long, long time and has finally seemed to come into his own, which actually, he's probably not that dramatically different from his skill set maybe a couple fights ago on this run. But when you beat Ferguson, people pay attention. And yeah, what did you think about this awesome performance by Charles Oliveira?
This was it. Like, this card was great. That main event was great, but this fight has been the thing that I've been thinking about all week. It was the best performance on the whole. I mean, it has the biggest implications.
Yep.
It was absolutely incredible. I think the biggest factor with you're right. We've been watching Oliveira debuted in the UFC in 2010. We were still in high school. He was 20 years old at the time. He's 31 now. He's fought everyone. He's been in the UFC at featherweight and lightweight for just ever and ever and ever. And he's always had a super savage ground game, but he had terrible stand up. It was super weak. He didn't have takedowns. He had bad transitions.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's put it all together. He's got with the people that taught him good striking, that taught him, while he doesn't have great wrestling still, doesn't matter. He's found a way to get people to the ground. You just apparently walk straight over to him and just grab him, and just pick him up and throw him down. It just works.
Yeah,
because that just
yes.
worked.
I thought his wrestling looked pretty good.
It did. It looked great because I couldn't believe that it was working the way it was.
He looked bigger. He looked bigger than Ferguson, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely blown away by Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira very well could be the next lightweight champion of the division. I think that he showed for sure that the Tony of the past 2 years would have gotten obliterated by Khabib. Now, Tony before the past couple of years, that would have been a different fight. But yeah, man, I was way more impressed at this performance than I even was at Gaethje's win over Ferguson, because that was just a sustained 5-round fight on the feet. It was great, but it was back and forth. Gaethje got dropped by Tony at a certain point in round 4, I think. There was none of that in this. Oliveira absolutely dominated Tony, had him dead to rights in the first round with an armbar. That was it. I mean, that was it. He, in all honesty, the man submitted Tony Ferguson in the first round. The only thing that was missing was the actual submission, because Tony just didn't tap and just sat there and got his arm broken. It was just masterful. That is the ground game that I wanted to see Khabib fight. But Khabib's smart. Khabib is definitely smart enough to get out now while he can, because like that's the kind of thing I want to see at the top of the lightweight division. Blown away by that performance from Oliveira.
Yeah, there were a few things that I thought. Also, let the record show. I totally guessed. We were watching the other night. I totally guessed about who he made his debut against. And I was totally right. It was Darren Elkins. He tapped out Darren Elkins in 41 seconds in 2010. And I just want to take a look at this. This is one thing that comes from fighting in the UFC for a decade. The names on this list. Everyone. You like Darren Elkins, Efrain Escudero, Jim Miller, Nick Lentz, Don Cerrone, Jonathan Brookins, Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar, Andy Ogle. You remember Andy Ogle?
Yep.
Hatsu Hioki, Jeremy Stevens, Nick Lentz, Max Holloway, Miles Jury, Anthony Pettis, Ricardo Lamas, Will Brooks. Like, the names just don't stop.
The Will Brooks win. That was insane.
Yeah. Stops Will Brooks. Hatsu Hioki was do you remember Hatsu Hioki?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, they wanted to give him a title shot immediately. And he's like, I'm not ready. And then he turned out to be right and got cut from the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Know thyself, I guess. Way to go. Really, I just want to so yeah, he in 2018 he beats Clay Guida, then Christos Giagos, Jim Miller, David Tamer, Nick Lentz, Jared Gordon. He wins a grappling bout against Lucas Barros, but that's the wrong sport. Kevin Lee, then Tony Ferguson, and
And not only did he beat all those guys, he finished them all at lightweight. He finished all those guys.
yeah, and what I came away with, right, was that yeah, Oliveira seemed to have grown into his body finally. Like watching him for all these years, we always saw his frame. It was like, God, man, like his limbs are so long. And he always relied on leverage for his grappling. Well, now he looks like he has really grown into his body strength wise. So now he's able to use his phenomenal leverage, but also just some straight up power, picking up Tony Ferguson, dropped him on the mat. And another thing about him, I I think that the fight was a win for Oliveira, but it was a win for Oliveira's experience and technique. It was a win of technique because Oliveira, he when he was younger, very flashy, jumping, spinning, all this stuff. Now, look at his posture when he fights. It's hardly ever not good posture. When he's following people to the ground, posture. When he's standing up fighting, posture. It was a win for technique at the end of the day because Tony Ferguson overwhelms people with crazy stuff. And anytime he would try this crazy stuff on Oliveira, it wouldn't work because Oliveira was being technical. And yeah, man, it was all the circles of MMA, all the talking heads, everyone. One thing I'm really liking is that people are making sure to give Oliveira his due before going on to like dump all over Tony Ferguson. They're making sure Oliveira gets his due, which is great, and I appreciate it. I think it's required reading. It's a required thing to do.
Yeah, there's only two things I want next for Charles Oliveira. He either needs to fight Khabib for the belt, which isn't going to happen, or he fights the winner of Conor versus Dustin 2 for the vacant title. That is the only option that I want to see from him.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with those.
With this win over Tony Ferguson, people are talking about Oliveira versus Oliveira versus an RDA or Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. I think he's put himself past both of those, any of those type of fights.
Come on, man! Like
Oliveira should be.
That would be ridiculous. You have Oliveira who has won a bunch
number
straight,
3 in the division,
all by stoppage. He just beat the number 3 or 4.
3. The only 2 people that should be ranked above him are Conor and Dustin. So that's it. I mean,
my man, do not take an RDA fight. For the love of God, don't take an RDA fight. All we need is RDA. Dude, no. RDA, listen, RDA should be fighting Chandler. Tony Ferguson's next fight should either be against Felder or Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
That's it. Anything with Charles Oliveira, if Charles Oliveira ain't staring down gold, what the hell are we doing here? I don't understand. You got to reward excellence in the sport.
Yeah.
And that was excellence on Saturday.